Facebook usually sends cheaper webinar leads, but Google usually sends higher quality webinar leads. So you might spend a couple extra bucks per lead on Google, which is fine, if the leads are higher quality. Hey, what's up? This is Jason Drone. Today I want to talk about webinar marketing. Now, webinars are one of the absolute best tools that you could ever employ in your business. They help you sell digital products, memberships, consultative sales kind of strategy sessions, coaching programs, masterminds. There's so many different things you can do with a webinar when you have a webinar sales funnel set up. The challenge is marketing it successfully. So how do you drive traffic filled with prospects, who are interested in the thing you're selling, and they are, they sign up for the webinar, where they can go through and ultimately purchase, learn from you and purchase. One of the coolest things about webinars, one of the things I like the most about webinars, is they actually do three things. They are fantastic at generating leads. They are fantastic at bonding or nurturing your prospects. You can really give a lot of value in the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour that they spend on the webinar with you. And the third thing is they convert better than almost any other sales material. So webinars traditionally convert much, much, much better than sales videos, sales pages, because it's an event. People sign up for the webinar to get education, training, tricks, ahas, tips, all of those things during your webinar. So what I want to do is I want to walk through how our webinar sales funnels are built. We're going to walk through and show you the different steps of a webinar sales funnel. And then we're going to talk about marketing it from a paid traffic and also from a JV traffic standpoint. So to get started with the webinar sales funnel, there are a couple of things, a couple pieces that you need to have. Of course, you need to have a webinar done. So the webinar needs to be up, whether it's an automated webinar or whether it's something that you schedule and you're going to present live. You need to have a webinar, which means you need to have some, a slide deck, a presentation that you're going to take a prospect through. So that it either needs to be planned or it needs to be set up, that the automated webinar is up. But your prospect flow is going to look like this. So you're going to have some sort of an ad, or you're going to have something up online whether it's Facebook traffic and you're running video ads, or you're running image-based ads, or you're running carousel ads, or whatever. So Facebook and Instagram, both the same ad platform. You can use email traffic. So the email traffic can be your own list. It can be lists that you rent or purchase, or friends' email lists. You can have JVs running traffic for you, or affiliates running traffic, meaning the affiliates can mail their list your webinar, and you can pay them an affiliate commission, whether it's 50% or 40% or whatever it ends up being. But JVs will mail your webinar to their list. Or you can run retargeted traffic. So people, you can show a banner ad or a Facebook ad to people who have been on your website already. So they already know who you are, they know your brand, they know what you stand for, and then they see an ad up on Google or CNN or whatever. They see an ad for your webinar, they click on the ad, and they ultimately go sign up. So once they click on the ad or the email or wherever you're getting traffic from, then they're going to hit a landing page. So the webinar landing page is very, very important. You want it to convert well. So most of the landing pages that we use for our clients convert between 28 and 35% with paid traffic. Your email traffic is going to convert a little bit better, because oftentimes if somebody's getting an email then they already have a relationship with the email sender. So they infer some of the relationship, and they ultimately click the link in the email and register for your webinar. Then once they sign up for the webinar, there's two different kind of thoughts here. So the first is they go immediately to attend the webinar. So 15 minutes after they register for the webinar, or an hour or whatever, then they're bumped, they're redirected to the webinar room, the webinar attendance, room where they actually watch the webinar itself. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is they sign up for the webinar and then you wait a couple days before the webinar actually goes live. And during that wait, you send a couple videos. You send video 1, which is introducing you and talking about something cool. You send video 2, which is, again, talking about something cool or maybe doing some case studies or whatever. And then the webinar goes live 2 or 3 days later. So I've seen both work really well. They depend largely on your prospect, who is going to be signing up for the webinar, and how much time they have, and what the topic of the webinar is going to be, and so on and so forth. But it's good to test both. Then they attend the webinar, or they don't attend the webinar. So they sign up for the webinar. The time comes that webinar is going live, whether it's a live webinar or whether it's an automated webinar, and they either attend or they don't, and they kind of go off into two different tracks at that point. So when they attend the whole thing. They attend up until the point that they saw your call to action, meaning the webinar was done, they saw the call to action, so on and so forth, or they left early, which means they left before your call to action. So what you can do is you can actually run different marketing based on how much of the webinar somebody watched. If they didn't attend, then you can re-invite them to sign up for the webinar again. Maybe it wasn't that important that they attended, anyway. We've done the re-invite thing, and usually what we'll do is we'll just send them right to the replay anyway with a little bit different text. Because they signed up for a reason, so then we bounce them to the replay. Hey, so sorry you missed the webinar, but here's a link to the replay. Once everybody is sent to the replay, we send usually 3 emails promoting the replay. So email 1 is, hey, here's the replay. Email 2 is, did you miss yesterday's email with the replay? So on, stuff like that. Email 3 usually promotes the replay and also the offer that was in the webinar. Email 4, 5, and 6 promote the offer. So the replay is done. We're promoting the offer. We're trying to close out the offer strong. The people who buy then go to fulfillment. The people who don't go into a nurture sequence. So that's the makeup of the sales funnel. That's the logistics of the sales funnel themselves. Now, in terms of marketing the webinar, what you want to do is we always start off with Facebook ads. Always, always, always. Facebook tends to give us really high quality traffic and it's rather cheap. Then we'll usually do some split testing one-on-one with Google. So we'll go to Google Ads, we'll do ads, in Google, and we'll kind of test Facebook versus Google head to head. We'll split the traffic down the middle, 50% Google, 50% Facebook, and we start driving traffic to the webinar registration. Facebook usually sends cheaper webinar leads, but Google usually sends higher quality webinar leads. So you might spend a couple extra bucks per lead on Google, which is fine, if the leads are higher quality. And also, you can track your ads and the leads coming in from the ads with like UTM variables. So that ends up working out really nicely. You can see what ads are working, what keywords are working, and track all the way back to the source. If you're going the email and JV route in terms of your webinar marketing, emails are very, very effective, methods of promoting webinars. So if you have your own list, awesome. Mail them, mail your list, use it as the first test. So you get some good data about the webinar itself. If you are using affiliates or friends email lists, you can offer to give them an affiliate commission. Generally, they will, gladly accept. Oftentimes, there are entire affiliate networks, that they will promote. They promote each other's webinars, and then they kind of go through like the webinar circuit. There was one time we had a webinar that was doing really, really, really well, And we ended up running that webinar like 60 times over the course of about 3 months. And for each of the affiliates, we would give them 50% commission. Something interesting happened though. So once we got like past 10 and 15 and 20 emails, I started seeing that the people who signed up for the webinar were actually, this was their second and third and fourth and fifth time. They were just on everybody's lists. So what ended up happening was the more webinars we did, the more diminishing returns we had, because we weren't actually engaging new people. We were just going out and going after the same people again and again and again. So there was, I remember like on the 58th webinar or something, somebody said, yeah, I've been on this webinar 6 times. And then I looked up after the webinar and they hadn't purchased yet. I'm like, well, so is this actually worth the time it takes to do these webinars live? Now with automated webinars, you can not necessarily you don't have to do them live in order to get the benefit of the webinar, which makes it nice. So automated webinars are definitely the way to go when you're doing like the JV piece, when you're doing the paid advertising piece. And then retargeting is another good one. So if you have a website that has some great search traffic, then people come to your website, they're reading your blog post, maybe watching videos or whatever, then they leave. Well, you can engage them again with a retargeted banner ad that shows the webinar itself. So you can then send them to a webinar registration page, get them to opt in and go from there. So those are really, some of the biggest webinar marketing tips that I have, some of the stuff that we talk about a lot with our clients. Blogging, building up a platform of, building up an audience, building up a platform, all of that stuff will give you additional ways to start focusing traffic in on your website. So if you have any questions at all, let me know. Underneath this video or somewhere on this page, there is a button to set up an action plan call with me. I'd love to get on the phone with you, talk about your business, talk about your offers, talk about your webinars, your sales strategy or whatever, and put together an action plan for you. Also, if you like this video, make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe to the channels, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, thanks.